Hi there, my name's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today I'm doing some gel printing with my 8x10 gel plate. I'm testing out some new stencils that I've made, including these two. This is Fern 1 and Fern 2. So I'm actually using the mask part of the stencil here. And I'm printing it on some translucent paper. I believe this is wet strength tissue paper. Here I'm burnishing that paper down really well with my hands into all the little crevices to make sure that I get a good impression. And pulling the print. Taking off the masks, and then I'll print the ghost print on a piece of found paper. This is some kind of legend paper that I've had in my stash for quite a while. This is a great print. It'll be great for collage. Here I am using that same green again. It's Hooker's Green from Liquitex Basics. Most of the paints I use are from Liquitex Basics. I'm rolling out a nice even coat. And then I'm going to use the stencil part of this design. So these are Ferns 1 and 2. I'm really just testing out my new stencil designs. A lot of these designs are available in my shop as SVG files. The link is in the description below. So I'm going to pick that up with a really thin piece of paper. I believe this is wet strength tissue paper. I'm using my fingers to really get into the crevices there to make sure I get a good impression. This is great for really detailed stencils like this. And also you can see right through the paper, which is really actually quite handy. Taking off the stencils. And I'm going to print it on a pre-printed piece of paper. I think this is just cardstock. Okay, I'm using, I think it's Liquitex parchment. I think I'm just going to do a pickup print here because there is some paint still left on the plate. So I'm rolling out a nice even layer. And putting a piece of cardstock over top to pick up that print. Burnishing it really well with my hands. And pulling up the print. This is a great way to get like an outline. It's a more subtle print than other prints. Alright, here I think I'm using Hooker's Green from Liquitex with Mars Black from Winsor and Newton Galleria. That is the one that I do kind of insist on using a different brand for. So I'm swirling my brayer around to mix the paint up really well. That way it will mix together rather than the mottled effect. And rolling it out nice and thin. This one turns out to be a great color. The stencil I'm using is Circle of Ferns. This is also available on my website. The link is below. These are available as digital stencil files, meaning that you can purchase the file, download it yourself, and cut it on your own cutting machine, like a Silhouette or a Cameo cutting machine. Doing it this way means that you can cut your stencils out of your own choice of material, and also you can decide on your own size. And it's also an instant download, so there's no waiting for shipping or anything like that. So here I'm pulling off the mask, and I'm going to pick that up with a spare sheet of paper that already has some brown paint already on it. And pulling up that print. This is a great neutral print. I really like that one, even though it's not in my usual colorways. Alright, I think there's still a bit of a ghost print on the plate there. So I'm going to pick that up with some parchment from Liquitex. And this is a piece of rice paper, I believe. Look at that. That'll be really great for collage. Okay, more parchment paint. Really liking that color today. That's a great neutral. I like it every day. Circle of Ferns again. Printing on a piece of wet strength tissue paper. Burnishing to get into all those little tiny holes. The wet strength tissue paper is really great for collage because it virtually disappears when you collage it in. So that'll be great. And then taking off the stencil, I'll print the ghost print. Another piece of wet strength tissue paper. If you're interested in some of the stencils I do have actually a free stencil below, so you can click that link and get a sample stencil to see how it works. And pulling that print. Nice. Thinking. Quinacridone magenta again. Braying out nice and thin. Obviously I have a little extra paint in there mixed in that I want to mix in. This is Flower Stencil 1 and Flower Stencil 2, I believe. These are also listed below. Again, wet strength tissue paper. I'm squishing my fingers into every little crevice in order to get a good impression. And pulling the print. These will be great for collage. Removing the stencils. And printing on a page that already has something on it. I'll probably print over that. That wasn't a great impression. Okay, I'm using, I think, yellow ochre here. This turns out to be one of my favorite prints of the day. Printing on rice paper, I believe. That rice paper is kind of scratchy on the back side. It's really kind of funny. I don't know why that's funny. These will make great focal pieces for something. This stencil is tulip number 1. It's also got a bit of a mask set as well with some variations of line work and solid shapes. I'm going to play with this stencil a little bit. Quinacridone magenta, which is one of my favorite colors. Using the masks first, just kind of varying them on the page. Picking up with that wet strength tissue paper again. Pulling off the masks. There's actually quite a bit of versatility with this set. You could layer different components together, doing multiple prints on top of each other. That could be really interesting. Now I'm just going to pick up the ghost print with some parchment paint. I think this is rice paper. Pulling the print. And nice. I really like the texture that gel printing gives. That'll be great for collage. Alright, so I'm just putting my stencil underneath my gel plate for a minute. Just kind of get an idea of where the stencil would land on the plate. Adding my paint. And rolling it out, kind of paying attention to where the stencil lines up. Now when I put the stencil on top, I can get the flower part in the purple and the leaf part in the green. And I'll pull this with a piece of cardstock. I'm making sure when I burnish that I push my fingers into all the little corners of the stencil so that I can get all those good imprints on that piece of paper. And pulling the print. This is interesting, but I think it'll be more interesting if I cut that out and use it for collage. And the pickup print has some potential too. Alright, I think I'm cleaning my plate here to pick up that extra bit of paint with a bit of parchment. And pulling that print. This is bright aqua green from Liquitex. I'm at the end of the container if you can tell. This is the line drawing flower. This is the mask version. Or the mask from that set, I should say. Picking that up with wet strength tissue. This will be really fun in collage where I can glue it down and let whatever's showing underneath show through in the lines of the flower. As you can see, it'll kind of make a negative image. Adding purple and green paint. Here I'm trying to line up the offcut, which can be used as a stencil, with the lines that are already on the plate from the last print. Looks like I've lined it up successfully. And printing on a piece of wet strength tissue paper. You can see my fingers are just covered in paint. And pulling this print. It's interesting. It's something I want to try again. I don't know how successful this particular print was, but it'll go in the collage file and I'll probably end up using it for something. There's that parchment color again. I think I'm just going to do this print to clean off this plate. Anything I don't like just goes back into my print more pile. I can always print over it again later. And pulling this print. If you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye!